My name is Tommy Springfield.
And I'm better than you!
And I'm here to bring you the facts.
About time you pencil dick showed up.
Nothing but the facts.
I can't lie!
That's not true. That's a lie.
No!
You are a liar!
No, I'm not! He's lying! You lie! Liar!
If you're new here or if you've been here before, please
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I like to think of myself as a superhero, but you know the ghetto version like Batman. Well, I'm that man. I live in a that cave, I drive a that mobile, and I'm still that nigga. If you like the videos that I do over here, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I give you one of these videos. As you can see, this video is something different. I did it once before, and I'm revisiting it. Unsolved murders in my city. This one is about the suspicious death of Ashley Turniak. This girl was either thrown out of a car or she jumped out of a car on the highway between Longmeadow and Connecticut, and it's 20 plus years later and the case is unsolved. Before we go along, I'd like to remind you that I am 420 friendly. If that offends you, I apologize. Thanks for the view this far, and I wish you the best on your YouTube journey, and I hope you find what you're looking for. Now, I'm going to give you a quick video, and the rest is going to be me reading. And if you've seen something, get in the comment section, hit me up, get my email, let's talk about it. If you know something, you heard something, get in the comment section, let's talk about it. Sorry about that, but she ready to tell the story. So let's get right to it, folks.
A homicide that happened in Longmeadow remains open more than 20 years later. According to the Hampden County District Attorney's website, 16-year-old Ashley Turniak was found dead on I-91 in Longmeadow near the Massachusetts-Connecticut state line back on November 9th, 1998. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to contact your local police department, the State Police Detectives Unit, or the State Police Unsolved Cases Unit. You can find all of those numbers on our website.
As you can see, this happened way back in 1998, and this has been unsolved. And you're like, hey, what happened? What's going on? That was short. I know. The rest, I gotta read it to you, or, you know, I'm gonna read it to you. Matter of fact, I can let you listen to it. Here we go.
.com to get started. If you love Shea Moisture for real, get ready to be even more obsessed. New Shea Moisture body washes keep your skin visibly moisturized for up to 24 hours. And even better than that, they are Black dermatologist approved, which we love. Show your glow and step up your shower game. Open up the Amazon app and grab your new Shea Moisture body washes. Your skin will thank us later.
You know what? See, I ain't got time for that. 16-year-old Ashley Turniak died on the side of the highway in Massachusetts during a busy weekday morning commute. Was it a terrible accident or intentional act? Despite the numerous drivers passing by who likely witnessed the final moments of her life, more than 25 years later, investigators are still trying to determine what exactly happened to the teenage girl and who, if anyone, is responsible. And as you can see, if you have any information, you can contact the investigators. This page is Dark Down East. Don't know these people, but I think I've used their page before to do the other unsolved case that I did out of Springfield, Massachusetts. So this is definitely a good site. Go check them out. And, you know, I hope they're not mad that I'm using their information, but just like them, my goal is to get this information out to the world. Because I couldn't imagine 25 years, this beautiful young lady, 16-year-old, was thrown out the car on a busy highway. Nobody knows nothing. How is the guy who she was in the car with, how has he been sleeping for the last 25 years? And to you, I don't have a problem with you. I'm just doing a story, brother. I'm just doing a story. So, it was just before 8 a.m. on Monday, November 9th, 1998, and Interstate 91 in western Massachusetts was busy as usual with commuters on their way to work. For one of the drivers on 91 that day, a trucker, he was already at work behind the wheel of his semi-truck. From where he sat up high in the cab in the center lane, he had unique view of other vehicles and their occupants around him. Excuse me. One passenger in particular caught the driver's attention, a girl in a black tank top sitting in the front seat of a car in the left lane. The car disappeared from view seconds later, but the trucker saw it pop up again beside his truck in the right lane, still speeding down the pavement towards Connecticut, except the girl in the black tank top was no longer in the car. The trucker must have checked his mirrors and tried to make sense of the vanishing act, but when he figured out what just happened, he was stunned. At that same moment, Massachusetts State Trooper Alan Joubert was parked faced the northbound lane in a turnaround, keeping an eye out for a report of possible intoxicated driver. Behind him in the southbound lane, he heard screeching tires, and then when he turned around to see what the commotion was all about, he saw several vehicles swerve, and then something come flying out of a car and onto the pavement below. The object landed in the breakdown lane just 30 feet from where his cruiser was parked. It was a person, a girl. The trooper ran to her. She was clinging to life as he checked her pulse. Several yards ahead, he looked up to see that a trucker had pulled over into the breakdown lane and was waving wildly and yelling that the car this girl had just fallen out of went that way, pointing toward exit 49 into Enfield, Connecticut. Trooper Joubert told Stephanie Berry of MassLive.com that jurisdiction would have prevented him from pursuing any vehicle across state lines unless it was for a felony. Well, goddamn, a woman coming out the car seems like a goddamn felony. And he didn't even know what he was dealing with at that point. What he knew for sure is that a girl in front of him shouldn't have been left alone. He was there as she took her final breath. The trooper radioed for immediate help and covered the girl's body with a rain jacket and angled his car to shield her from the eyes of passing motorists unaware of what just unfolded during their morning commute. The victim had long, dark hair and was believed to be in her early to mid-teens. She was found wearing jeans and a black tank top, but she didn't have a coat or any shoes on. She also had a green and black beeper and a Mickey Mouse watch on her wrist, but she didn't have any identification on her. The girl's body was removed from the scene and transported for an autopsy as police tried to figure out who she was. They checked with area schools to see if any students hadn't showed up that day. Agawam High School in Agawam, Massachusetts checked their attendance records and provided police with a photo of a student who never checked in for classes. The photo matched the victim. The girl on side of Interstate 91 was later identified as a 16-year-old Ashley Turniak. So, this is just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm heartless. I think, as a parent, I would have rather you leave my daughter on the side of the road, call radio for help. The trucker was there. Trucker, go over there, but make sure nobody, touch the body. What kind of car he was? And go get that car. Because here it is, 25 years later, we still don't know it. Here it is, 25 years. Did this person progress? Did this person throw more girls out the car? We don't know what this person is doing. We don't know if he's lurking and on his way to do this to somebody else. So maybe I'm just thinking wrong. Maybe I'm heartless, but I would have loved for you to go after that guy and catch him. So let's get Back to the story. Massachusetts State Police Detective Ronald Gibson was on his way to work at State Police Barracks in Springfield, Massachusetts that morning when he heard the call come over the scanner. Excuse me. He pulled a U-turn and headed directly to the scene. Making it there before the uniformed officers, he would lead the investigation into Ashley Turniak's death, and her case is the one that would stay with him throughout his career and even after he left state police. Although Ron has since retired from state police, he jokes that he just couldn't stay away and is now deputy with the Hannum County Sheriff's Department during internal affairs investigations. He's also an what? I don't know that word. Professor at Our Lady of the Elms College, as well as the emergency management director for the city of Westfield. Busy guy. He is also very generous with his time and his knowledge. When Dark Downey's listener brought Ashley's case to my attention, I was frustrated to find that there's not a lot of coverage of her story throughout the years. What is out there repeats the same initial details over and over, and as I've learned, some of these details aren't entirely accurate. Thankfully, Ron agreed to speak with me to clear things up, fill in the blanks, and share new details about the case. As a lead detective, Ron Gibson was present at Ashley's autopsy. She had a cracked skull and bruising on her back and shoulder blades, leading Ron to believe she hit her head first when coming out the car. Her death was determined to be the result of injuries she sustained from hitting the pavement after exiting a vehicle going highway speeds. As the investigation into her death began, the question was how and why did Ashley come flying out that car? Was it a fall, an accident of some kind, or was it an intentional act? Detective Gibbs and other investigators began tracking down witnesses who saw what unfolded that morning. The trucker was reportedly the only person to pull over and give statement after it happened. He described the girl in the black tank top and told police how 1 second she was in the car and then she wasn't. The trucker also said that it looked like she was smoking a cigarette and her legs were crossed, apparently relaxed. Another witness, an older woman who called police after she got home that day, said she saw the same girl in a black tank top come out the car. So it was a busy highway. Only 2 people seen it. So you mean to tell me, man, no one seen this car? No one got the correct color car. Nothing. This is amazing to me. But anyway, for years, media reports repeated one particular detail over and over, that Ashley exited the moving vehicle feet first through the window. However, Ronald Gibson said that's not entirely accurate. The report was actually that Ashley was leaning up and out of the window first, waving her arms, because that's how the older woman describes it. Ronald explained. Says the girl came out the window, put her arm up in the air, and the next thing you know, the car was flying fast and she came out the car right down to the ground. Based on those details, Ron believes Ashley had leaned out the window and was possibly trying to get the attention of the trooper in the turnaround, the one who would ultimately run to her aid when she was either pulled out of the car but forced by the force of the speed they were traveling, or pushed out by someone inside the car. So if that theory is accurate, which Ashley is trying to get the trooper's attention, who was driving the car? And related to all of it, why wasn't Ashley in school that Monday morning? The last piece could hold many of the answers the investigators were seeking. So investigators also started talking to Ashley's friends and fellow classmates at I-91 High School. I found the witness accounts from students that had been made public throughout the years to be foggy at best. Some students have said that while everyone was fumbling to the front doors of the building in time for the bell, Ashley was lingering outside. It seemed to the other kids like she was waiting for someone. At least one account said Ashley was seen at school in the parking lot at as late as 7:40 that morning, 15 minutes after classes would have started. Other witnesses said they saw Ashley inside the building at some point that morning. She had been standing in the tardy line, but she reportedly left the line to make a call at one of the payphones near the front entrance of the school. There was a school policy in place at the time for students who repeat tardiness. After 6 tardies in a given school year, the student will either be sent home or receive 3 hours detention after school. If that was the case, it's possible Ashley was in the tardy line that morning because this was her 7th late arrival, and she may have gone and used the payphones to call for a ride from someone. So now we speculate in what happened, either she was late or she left, she was late. No one actually knows. No one's seen nothing, no one knows nothing. However, Ryan told me there was a different reason why Ashley may have been waiting in line and then possibly making a phone call that morning, just after the first bell. The principal called Ashley and some other students smoking in the bathroom when they should have been in class. He brought all the students to his office so they could call home and tell their parents why they were late to class that morning. Excuse me. Ashley didn't want to call home. She didn't want her mother to know she was late to class a 7th time. So according to interviews with other students who were standing in line with Ashley, she left line before it was her turn to make a call and headed outside to the parking lot and possibly to the payphones. According to a report by Jordan Jagalizer and Kaylee Pogalis for Western Mass News, Agawam High School had cameras that faced the parking lots, and investigators were able to obtain some security footage from the school cameras, but Ron said the footage didn't show anything helpful. Actually, to his knowledge, the cameras that would have been the most help weren't working that day because, of course, they wasn't working. Why in every case of someone being missing or something happened to somebody, conveniently the goddamn cameras don't work? There's one other version of why Ashley wasn't in school that morning that's been reported over the years. Ashley's mother, Antoinette Turniak, believed she could have been planning to cut class that day to hang out with a friend who was moving out of state soon. But that friend showed up at class, even if that was the plan. Before the friend even arrived on school grounds, Ashley had already left with someone else. The early investigation. During the first few days of the investigation, Hamden County District Attorney at the time, William Bennett, said that the investigators were looking at Ashley's death from many angles. Either Ashley was pushed out the window and there was a homicide, or she went out the window for some other reason and it was terrible, and it was a terrible fatal accident. The DA said they was also considering the possibility that Ashley was abducted and had jumped from the vehicle to escape. But until they had more information about her movements that morning and who was driving that car, none of the possibilities could be confirmed. Now, Interstate 91, where Ashley was found, is a busy highway that runs between Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Ashley's school in Agawam was about 3 miles from the I-91 on-ramp in Longmeadow. In the location where she came out the car just before the Enfield, Connecticut exit was roughly 8 miles total from the high school. So if there were no stops between when Ashley was picked up and when she came out the car window, and they were driving at or around the speed limit for those road, she was likely only in the car for about 10 or 15 minutes. Investigators seemed to be most interested in a narrow window of time between 7:30 and 8 a.m. They appealed to the public in search of anyone else who witnessed the incident on the interstate or who saw Ashley alive in that period of time on November 9th to report to the state police. Someone had to have seen what happened and who Ashley was with, or at the very least, remember what kind of car she came out of. The few they initially spoke to couldn't seem to recall the make and model of the suspect vehicle. At first, there were conflicting reports that the car was either dark blue or maybe tan, two very different colors. While the search for the vehicle and driver was ongoing, vehicle and driver was ongoing later on that day, a man called Anfield police to report something suspicious on some vacant land he owned in Enfield. He discovered a backpack and its contents scattered across the partially wooded lot at the end of Woodland Avenue, which was a dead-end street, but the man actually had no idea what had played out on the interstate earlier that day. According to Ron, Enfield police weren't up to speed on the incident either. So, you telling me that you a Massachusetts trooper, you find a girl that was thrown out of a car, rolled up next to your vehicle. The car went off the exit ramp into Enfield. And at this point, y'all haven't notified Enfield? Y'all hadn't did anything to let Connecticut know? Because you said later on this day, you know what I'm saying? So, the day had been proceeded. Y'all moved the body. You well into your investigation. Y'all didn't think it was okay to let Enfield know? That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. While the search for the vehicle driver, so we know a guy called the Enfield police and said, "Hey man, I found this backpack on my property." Enfield police collected the backpack and determined that it belonged to someone named Ashley Turniak. They tried calling Ashley at home to let her know they found her backpack, but her mother, Antoinette, picked up. Antoinette was already worried because Ashley wasn't at the apartment when Antoinette got home from work. Antoinette told Enfield police she'd be over to pick up Ashley's stuff. But the next time Antoinette spoke to a member of law enforcement, it was Massachusetts State Police delivering the news no mother should have to hear. Ashley, family, friends, and the entire Agawam school community was in shock. Ashley was a popular student and was even nominated for Who's Who among high school students. She loved to dance and practice karate and go do gymnastics. She dreamed of becoming a nurse, especially after working as a dietary aide at the Heritage Hall nursing home that summer. Ashley had started to think about college, and Annette was looking forward to touring campuses with her daughter the following year. But Ashley's sudden death put an unexpected end to those dreams and future plans, and everyone was gasping for answers in this unexplainable tragedy. Jack Farrell reports for the Union News that Ashley's memorial service was held just across the street from her high school. That same week, students and teachers were permitted to leave school early to attend the funeral. And the funeral home was packed with hundreds of people wearing purple ribbons in Ashley's honor. Teachers and fellow classmates shared their memories of her, remembering Ashley as a really good person and an extremely likable girl who could make friends with anyone. But almost as loud as their memories of Ashley was their sheer disbelief that this could happen seemingly without at least one eyewitness who could give a clear description of the car and the other person inside. A week into the investigation, police hadn't identified the driver or made any arrests in Ashley's suspicious death, but the case was progressing through some old-fashioned police work and a few witnesses they had been able to drum up so far. Investigators now had a more specific description of the car they believed was involved in her death. They were searching for a tan or light brown mid-size car, possibly a late 1980 model Ford Tempo or vehicle similar in appearance. So with that, investigators across 2 states planned the unusual steps to drum up new information in Ashley Turniak's case. But Vanessa, who reports for the Harvard Courant, that a week after Ashley's death, state police from both Massachusetts and Connecticut, alongside local infield police department, were handing out flyers to passers, motorists along the route Ashley was presumed to travel on morning of November 9th. They aimed to reach anyone in their same morning commute who may have seen the vehicle Ashley was in and who was driving it. The rush hour traffic slowed down as detectives and other law enforcement funneled cars into one lane at the exit 49 on and off ramps in order to distribute the flowers with a description of the suspect vehicle. The flowers also noted the car was likely driving at a high rate of speed or erratically as it traveled south on I-91 and onto Route 5 and Woodland Ave in Enfield. At least 1,000 flyers were distributed that morning, and though investigators received several calls, they had nothing new to report from the canvassers' efforts. Almost 2 weeks later, but they were working other leads behind the scenes, and it led them to a possible suspect. Police had a few questions for an older guy Ashley started hanging around in the weeks before her death. That's her. See, that's her. That's her. She was a beautiful girl. And as you can see, she's pretty. And as you can see right here, she started messing with an older guy. So, that's the story. Do you know this older guy? Do you remember her? If you was one of her friends, who was she talking to? Who was this older guy? What was going on? Once again, I'm going to give you the news report.
You can find all of those numbers on our website.
Listen.
Longmeadow remains open more than 20 years later. According to the Hampden County District Attorney's website, 16-year-old Ashley Turniak was found dead on I-91 in Longmeadow near the Massachusetts-Connecticut state line back on November 9th, 1998. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to contact your local police department, the State Police Detectives Unit, or...
Like I said, man, these are the stories that get me in trouble because maybe the killer will see it, he get mad at me, he get upset with me because I'm ruffling old feathers. So please, if you see this, share it. Let's make this work. Let's find, from one of these videos I do, let's find the killer. Let's bring justice to this girl. She was 16 years old, thrown out of her car, jumped out of a car, however it happened. Share this story, like this story. Let's make this story go viral. This dude is out there somewhere, and your daughter could be the next victim. Like I always say, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Click all so you can get notifications every time I do one of these videos. And if you're a supporter of the channel, much love and respect goes out to you. And if you out here hating and taking part in madness like this, cut the shit. That part.